want to use the topic of healing to get this point across. So religions today have made it look like the Bible is about magic, and then young people that have more common sense, they come across that and think that people are crazy, and it's because of religion. However, religions have a lack of knowledge of biblical understanding. So here we are in Matthew 9:27. So this particular paragraph, we have a situation of blindness, and it says, when so-called Jesus departed thence, 2 blind men followed him, crying and saying, Son of David, have mercy on us. And when he was coming to the house, the blind men came in, and so-called Jesus said unto them, Believe, capital B, which is an action word, okay, you that I am able to do this. They said unto him, I, Lord. Then touched their eyes, saying, According to your faith, be it unto you. See, this is where people would, assume that there's this magical, touching going on, okay?
When you believe in magic.
And their eyes were open. See, you see what I'm saying? So Christians believe in magical conception, and so in this case they believe in this so-called magical healing. This blindness is a specific blindness, and we're gonna touch on that. And so-called Jesus straightly charged them, saying, See that no man know it, but they, when they were departed, spread abroad his fame in all the country. Boom, booyah. So and this is also the magical thing of walking on water. This spreading abroad is so-called Jesus spreading abroad through different lands, thus walking on water, because different lands, different people. Well, people is defined as water. Peoples, nations, and tongues is the literal definition of water. So this spreading abroad is the true understanding of that position. It's not literal a man walking on water. It's symbolism, just like this blindness. Let me prove that also with the blindness. All right, so here we are in Isaiah 42:6, and it says, I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep you, and give you for a covenant of the people, for a light to the Gentiles. Okay, to open the blind eyes. That's what we're dealing with. Okay, to bring the prisoners out of prison from prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house, for I am the Lord, that is my name. Okay, so as we scroll down some more, I believe one of them is 16. I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not, leading them in paths that they have not known. I will make darkness light before them, and the crooked things straight. We know that Satan is a crooked serpent. This opening the eyes to the blind is them receiving the law. As we scroll down some more, we see that Jacob was the one that was for a spoil, and Israel was robbed. This is what this is talking about, because we're talking about the law and these people, for they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. They went crooked. They went to the left and to the right. They became Gentiles. That's why it started off with being a light to the Gentiles. This is the blind. It literally says in the same chapter that it is Jacob for not walking in the ways of the Most High and his law. Right there. Okay. This is what Christ is talking about. It's not magical touching. It's literally restoring the law that they forgot about. This is where you get the parable of the blind baby. This is where we also get the parable of the blind leading the blind. This is simple when you remove the magical construction that religious organizations have put upon people. So it's not literally I'm touching you, magic fingers, spirit fingers, and then poof, zap, pow. You can see. It's seeing through wisdom. It's just like the light that we just saw in Isaiah. That light is not talking about literal light. It's just like you say, someone would say, oh, now that's a bright young man. But here we are back in Matthew 15, and verse 14 says that let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into a ditch. Just like in certain doctrines in camps also. I know people call everything they say the truth, but not everything they say is the truth when it contradicts the word. So this is just another example of the quote-unquote blindness. You can see it has nothing to do with literal sight. Alright, so here it is in Matthew 23 and 26. Let's start at verse 25. It says, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites. Let's see how they are hypocrites. For you may clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess. This is the thing, just like your pastors today. They worried on how everything look on the outside, but the inside you got a bunch of just, niggerdom. But verse 26, it says, you blind Pharisees. This is how they're blind. That's what we're talking about. Cleanse first that which is within the cup and the platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like unto white sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness. They cleaning the outside, not the inside. They don't see this because they're blind. So here it is in Luke, and it actually references where we kind of started in Isaiah. So it actually says Isaiah right here, but in a Greek fashion, Esaias. But it says, and there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet, basically Isaiah. And we know this is Isaiah 61. Those of us that know the Bible and not just some religion, it's going to talk about the gospel. And when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering sight to the blind. We literally just saw that in Isaiah. To set liberty to them that be bruised. This is not all people on the earth, because there's the one that's causing the bruises. You see what I'm saying? The acceptable year of the Lord. Verse 20, and he closed the book and gave it again to the minister and sat down. In the eyes of all them, in connection with being blind, the eyes of all them that were in the synagogue were fastened on him. He began to say unto them, this day is the scripture fulfilled in your ears. It's not magic.
When you believe in magic.
It's like it's, I don't want to say, I don't want to say spiritual and sound cliche, but this is a spiritual touching here. It's just like you watch a movie and you're touched in an emotional context. Well, this is being touched in a spiritual context versus physical, like being touched, and it's a physical touch and it's a foul, or talking about basketball, or touching, it's a block, a physical touch in football. There's different types of touching. But we think it's only one, and then we believe it's magic, because if you think it's only one type of touching, then you think it only could be magic. Like, I'm gonna physically touch your eyes and then you're gonna physically see. It's ridiculous. So right here in Luke 7:21, we have a bunch of things going on, but they are not a bunch of magical things. So in that same hour, he cured many of their infirmities and plagues, and of evil spirits unto many that were blind he gave sight. So it's a plethora of things. Then so-called Jesus answering said unto them, Go your way, tell John the things you have seen and heard. This is what it's talking about, that the blind see, the lame walk, and this is walking, and it's a double thing going on. It's just like you wouldn't go to the left. It's just, what was that walking Enoch, how he walked in the ways of the Most High. That's having a calf's foot that you see in Ezekiel, following the lamb. Calf, lamb, get it? It's two things going on. That the lepers are cleansed. It's being clean. The washing of the water by the word. This is a spiritual baptism going on. That the deaf hear. Let me do the deaf hear. Again, you have to hear the word. It all roots back to the word. The dead are raised. This is not Michael Jackson Thriller music video. Niggas coming up out the ground and they start dancing. This dead. Romans says the wages of sin is death. Going back to the word. You're becoming alive. It's not mad. It's just to have a quickened spirit. That's what you see with Adam. The breath of life. Versus just being dead in sin. It says to the poor, going back to see, ladies and gentlemen, this is the summary right there. Going back to Isaiah, this gospel. It's not magic. You just have to know what it's talking about through the precepts. This is going to be my final point. So John 9 from the top. And so-called Jesus passed by, he saw a man he was blind from his birth. And his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents? You see what I'm saying? But he was blind from his birth, so it couldn't have been him. This is the point. A lot of us are blind to truth because we were not raised in the truth from our birth. Going back to the word, how could we? Our parents are in charge of us. If our parents are reckless and irresponsible, they're going to raise us up to be damn blind from our birth. That he was born blind. So who sinned that this man was born blind? So-called Jesus answered, neither has this man sinned nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. So this is just a flex, like how the Most High flexed in Egypt to free Israel. Well, this is the same flex so that I can work and show y'all that I'm the Most High. That's the case here. It says it in writing. I must work the works of him that sent me While it is day, the night come when no man can work. He's working in the daytime, essentially. But the point is that so that the words, it's about manifesting the word of the Most High, so people can see that it's true. Capital T. I must work these works so that y'all can see. But you shouldn't think that this is a literal blindness and a magical touch which is creating physical sight. It goes all over the place. This is why people think the Bible's bullshit, is because the people teaching do not have proper understanding. You have to use the precepts to have a proper understanding. If you're just talking and teaching and you just got emotional people listening, they'll hoot and holler for any old bullshit. They'll fall for anything. They'll be blind. This is real sight through the precepts. The wages of sin is death. It's not literal death. You're sinning. You're absent of the word. That's all. So that's all I have for now, as it is written, and I'm out.